Good afternoon, my railroaders. This is Southern 207 coming at you with yet another update for the week. I got a little bit of progress to report on the solar system. We finally are producing power. The blinking charging light actually means I'm producing 13.2 volt, which means they're charging. And yes, I did break down and buy another battery today. And the previous one of these I had, which as you can see is the solar charge regulator, not to be confused with a controller, was defective. So you all know, when you go to hook yours up, if you go this route, you must connect the battery first. Then the solar panel, then your load. Which in this case I got hooked to a pair of alligator clips and running up to a 300 watt inverter. And right now it's producing 110 volt. But I'm going to leave those build up a charge so I can do the following. I've already got a wire back here. Let me see if I can grab it. That one right, that pair right there. It's going to go back to the command station. Then what I'll do at the command station, I'll have a board with a fuse hooked to it. Well, another one of these type fuses. Good old school automotive type fuse that you can actually see if the darn thing's blown or not, and reconnect that back there and take care of said problems. Now that's taken care of, I can get rid of this little nightmare because I've also got another upgrade. This called what one of the perks of being a scrapper is. Got this out of a rooftop AC unit, which goes from 4 gauge to a smaller gauge wire. And you guys are probably asking, why do I need that big a gauge wire? Well, when I go to expand this system, I need to have additional places to pick up additional wire. Hence that. The big battery is a 35 amp hour battery, which is essentially a lawn and garden battery. The 2 batteries in the back are still the same 2 I've had previously. Which, by the way, guys, so you're aware, when you go to buy these batteries, especially this new style, this is a sealed lead acid battery, but it's actually a gel cell. I was talking with the owner of the local Harbor Freight. If you notice how it says non-spillable, that tells you straight up it's a gel cell. But as soon as this system gets a good charge on it tonight, and after I get back from working tomorrow, the plan is to hook up wires and go back to the command station and possibly run some trains with it, which I will show on the next update, which will probably be tomorrow evening, depending on how tired I am, how well it's working. Which also, if you guys have a Harbor Freight nearby, keep an eye on the sales flyers. Yes, Marine. 1/8 inch all the way up to the big stuff. As you can see, the sizes. And another thing that we all break on a regular basis. $1.79 for 7 titanium bits. You can't find that kind of a deal at Lowe's if you tried. And I go through so many of the damn little things, I just went and picked up 2. More of that heat shrink. Now, this is the one I highly recommend everybody goes and buys. $11. And you get that whole assortment of various sizes. The yellow connectors, that's them right there. The wire, this heavy gauge wire here is 12 gauge stranded, which I happen to pluck out of another AC unit. Focus, there it goes. You can see that's 12 gauge stranded. I got about 100 feet of this stuff, which is going to be more than beefy enough for the next part of the reveal. You guys should remember that Helix from a few months back. I'm resurrecting it to do the following. Part 2. Which as soon as that, I get that plywood up on there, the rest of this is going to go into boxes. But as you can see, I still got one more turn to go up to get it up to that height. And then what I'll do is I'll build a frame. It connects that right there, at 2 foot mark. This I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with the workbench. Because unfortunately, yeah. I underestimated my plans. Oops. But we are slowly inching forward. Which the next thing to do is to take those fans up there and run them off of that. If I can do that and get that other fan in the back, I essentially got AC. Which, as you guys can see in the background, I do have trains on this side of the layout. I just had to get power connected to it, which means the banishment underneath the dun area. And as far as the next stage of construction, once I get this up and operational, which should be happening in the next 90 days or so. Once I get the lower tier operating all the way around to here, which as you can see, just on the other side of that other leg, which yes, the legs will be permanent on this upper tier. The upper tier is going to be in another 3x6 section, same as lower level. And ironically, I was able to even utilize the same spaces. But for anybody who's building their first layout from scratch, especially with a 4x8 table, or actually any size table, take a few minutes when you're before you put your table together, on your centerpieces or anywhere else you plan on running wire, and drill yourself some big holes. These here happen to be 7/8 holes. I put 5 per board all the way down. And on the ends I got 4 holes there, 4 holes there for wire runs. This way it keeps your wiring nice and neat and tidy. Which, as it sits right now, in case anybody's wondering on the heights, to bench top on this area, N-Track standard of 40 max height, but once I get a sheet of plywood, which I hope to have in the next day or so, although I might butcher that piece. By the time I add a piece of 1/2 inch to it, I'll be Ironically, railroad's standard gauge, 56.5 inches. And yeah, no, this wasn't intentionally planned, it just worked out that way. As you can see, the piece of half-inch plywood, it'll be exactly U.S. railway gauge, which, although here lies a little known fact about the Southern Railway, originally they were content with a 60-inch gauge. You can see why when the gauge swap happened, they only had to move it 4 inches. Which, in one day, Southern Railway was able to reposition almost 12,000 miles of rail throughout their whole network to the standard gauge, or 4 feet 8 1/2 inch. Which, I have a video liked on my channel. It was done by a fellow YouTuber. I can't think of the guy's name now, but I think it was something history. It's on my favorite liked video list on how the day of the gauge changed, his name of it. It's about a 10-minute long video, but it really gives you an in-depth and informative idea on what it took to change the southern states from a content of 5-foot track gauge to the current norm of 4 feet 8 1/2 inch. But enough of the rambling, as Chuck Baker would say. Which, Chuck, if you're watching this, keep highballing, man. You're doing great on beating that cancer's butt. And thanks to Sparky 107, we're layout's slowly growing. Hopefully by winter time, I have the lower level fully scenic, and well, semi-fully scenic, because he'll still be going through years and years and years of detailing as time might permit, as well as other projects working down the tube as we speak. But as we all can see, progress is being made. And yes, guys, I am being a cheapo and utilizing reclaimed wood. We gotta do what we gotta do when we're on tight budgets, unfortunately. Ain't that right, Vinny? And I do have a couple structures I'm going to be working on getting fixed back up, which I'll show you guys how to start repairing structures soon. I'm still waiting to get some plaster to get back to doing the streets, for doing street running and brick streets, which that's really going to be fun. The biggest thing, guys, when we got to do that, in case you want to do this at home, go to Harbor Freight, pick up a set of cheap dowel picks. That and a good steel rule, about 12 to 24 inches long, depending on what you want. Personally, though, I do it in small sections, like 6 inches, and on a small scrap piece where you can pitch it if you mess up. Which is another thing I will highly recommend. Don't worry about if you screw up. You can always pull it back apart and redo it. That's the beauty of this hobby. If we get sick and tired of something, we can take it out and change it. Unlike here in the real world, where we have to take dynamite and all other sorts of high explosives to have it done. But the goal, just so you guys are aware, I'm going to be real busy this coming week. Monday morning at 8 a.m. I have a sleep-deprived EEG to be done, which is essentially where they read my brain waves to see what caused seizure, which I had Thursday night. Yes, guys, unfortunately, I went 5 months before one of my family members finally pushed me too far and I had a seizure. And I was with the clostopran I'm on, which is essentially an Asperger's medication, but it's all because, yes, I do have Asperger's, as some of you may have spotted a while back. But it also helps control seizures. So is Depakote, which thank God I'm not on that thus far. But like I was saying, as soon as I get that charge built up, I've already got the wire run over there to the command station. It's just a matter of stripping and hooking it up. But what I'm going to do, just in case that doesn't provide enough butt behind it to run it, I'm going to leave the big power supply there, 12 ampere, hooked to there. The fan will also be tied into that circuit to keep that puppy cool, because that's an 8 amp system. And in case you guys are wondering, I am still currently looking for an additional Southern Railway locomotives. Preferably anything pre-1966. Which my cutoff date for the steam era, not valid. Because I go all the way back to steam, beginning of steam. Because of the best friend of Charleston. Although, I would love to get a working model, an N-scale model of the rocket. Just for he's and ha-has. But as you can see, nothing on this side's changed. It's mostly been focused over on this end of the layout lately. But I am slowly working on cleaning everything off to try and get the operations video running here soon. Which, another thing I gotta go through the lovely headache of. I'm sorry for the sun bleaching. But get the layout back in operation so we can start doing some ops again. Which, so you guys are aware, the reverse loop is connected underneath. I still gotta connect the track feeds to it. The main layout over here, I still have to hook power to, but I have to troubleshoot some stuff first. Or I might just kill the branch line for the time being until I get things settled. But I also got a program track right here, which is also a factory, which I gotta modify the structure to go around this leg. Which, as you guys can see, I'm using 1x4s, which are 3/4. Realistically, so you guys are aware, when building this stuff, this is a tip for beginners. 1x4s are not exactly 1 inch thick, as I will show you here in 1 minute. I'll do it where it'll be a little bit easier for everyone to see. They're actually 3/4 of an inch thick. And in the case of a deck board, which is supposed to be a 1x6, it's actually 3/4 shy. Reason being, that's rough sawn dimensions that they use. Dressed, width-wise, you typically take, like on a 1x2, it's actually 1.5 inches. Because what they do at the sawmill, so you take a 1/4 inch off each side via planer, and that's why we have such nice and pretty boards. But the other wire you see here, that's going to be a part of the overhaul of the lighting system, which is something that's been on my to-do list for God knows how long. But when I go do that, I might be going through a slew of resistors and LEDs. Thank heavens for Amazon. And also, going back to the updates on where I'm going to be at, Thursday I've also got a follow-up appointment with my neurologist. And guys, please pray I get good news. Because unfortunately, the medication I'm on, when I'm on the 20 milligram dose, I battle dizzy spells. And right now I'm battling one of them. So sorry if the video is a little on the shaky side. But the Myersburg yard will be back in operation. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick brief tour of the names of the various branches on my layout. This here is the Cooper branch, named after one of my late uncles, who's no longer with us, Bob Cooper. He worked at a coal mine, hence the coal mine. That'll be Cooper Mine 1. Which there will be a Cooper Mine 2, which will be a dump truck, which is how my grandfather and him mined coal. And the type of coal stacks that he mined was essentially no wider than the actual railroad track gauge. Or in other words, about what you see here. No, stump coal. But getting back to the layout tour. This section of the branch here was done after, loosely done with using the thin branch project from our railroader. That I have still yet to be unnamed, although I'm thinking of a few YouTubers, Hot Rod Rodney, I might name the town after. Through here, I'm still unsure of the name of this stretch. I think I might call it Rodville, after Hot Rod. This being an interchange, well, a coal dump yard, which, yes, I know this is a little bit odd, but it's just the way I gotta roll with it. Because on this lower leg, I'm restricted, because I got a couple of tight turns down through here, so I'm restricted to 4-axle power. Hence, why I prefer the switchers. And I got several steam engines that'll make that radius, so I'm not really that worried about. But this here, I'm gonna name Dunlapport for the coal dock, which I still gotta build there. Then it goes back up the grade to here, which I'm gonna call this Foster Junction. Which, as you guys can see, I do have a reverse loop built in up there. The air track from that point there, well, the innermost track towards me, from that point all the way down to there is the reverse district for that. The branch line is about 60% of the way done. As you can see, I've been busy. I'm still in the process of installing ties and finalizing rail. I still got to build a small section of track up to there. But I have been making a little bit of progress on said tunnel route turntable. I got the actual pit cut in. Next, I have to get back to the bridge. With Just Mike, I'm still looking for a chassis, a drive mechanism for that, because I cannot find an operational one of that vintage. So what I'm going to probably end up doing is giving you an upgrade on it. But as you guys have seen so far, right here is the Fosterville branch, which, if you guys have an older issue Mile Railroader, you possibly have seen the track plan before, because I've explained in greater detail in previous videos. Which so far we're pushing the half-hour mark, which is a little bit out of the norm for me. As you can see, we got bill of materials, and that just gives you a rough idea of how old this thing is. January of 1972 is when that track plan was drawn up. Well, technically December of 1971 is when it was actually drawn up. Now, get back to here. I've previously shown this in the last video, where I got the tracks converging back into a single track main, which of course leads over to the new construction. But from this point on, over and up here, well, I finalized what I'm going to do up here on the upper tier. Right through this upper section, starting about roughly halfway around, I'm going to put in the steel mill that I got, including the rolling mill, all the way up along through here to that corner. The plan is to get another couple engine houses and the other necessary buildings, so that way I can run ore trains. Which, guess what? That means I have some real mechanical fun. I gotta come up with additional engines to pull the ore trains upgrade. And helpers. Oh yes, I'm going whole hog on that. Then I'll plan on coming up around into another big yard along this wall over here. A whole 14 feet with a return loop at the end. And this way, when I have guests over, I can run trains from one return loop, well, from this main loop here, all the way around, back, up around this upper deck, behind me, and all the way around up here on the second level to the return staging yard, way over there. But that's the plan. Let's see how well I stick to it. And P.S. Don't hold your breath. I have been known to come up with some wild changes, as you guys have previously seen through my older videos. Because like I said, I wasn't expecting to be able to do solar this soon, but hey, if I can get this whole shed solar powered, that means one thing: more money for more trains. And that's what it's all about, boys and girls. He who has most trains at the end of the day wins. Joke. I didn't mean that in a mean way. I'm just joking around. Anyway, we're at the 29-minute mark. So, Southern 207 out. And have a great day, Mall Railroaders.